now I want to jump you to chapter 1.3.5. Chapter 1.3.5. And this is about one of our other favorites in quantum mechanics, the no cloning theorem. This also appears formally in box 12.1, the no cloning theorem. So I'm going back to chapter 1 now, which is the overview, now that we have our linear algebra background and our background in quantum mechanics. So we're starting to see some of the funny consequences of the postulates of quantum mechanics. And this is going to be one of them. So the no cloning theorem states the following. Let's consider that I have some state psi, and I want to make a copy of it. Or in other words, I want to clone it. So in order to do this, I'm going to need some other state, which is sort of a reference state that I'm going to indicate with the symbol S. And this is where I'm going to copy the state psi into. Okay? So I want to consider a unitary operation U such that U acting on this state, psi tensor S, is equal to psi tensor psi. So I made a copy of the state psi. This is going to be a useful thing when we think about error correction, which we'll do later in the course. In error correction, one of the first things you do is just make a copy of all of the bits or the states that you have, and then that can help you to protect against errors. So it's natural to think about trying to do a similar thing in quantum mechanics, but we're going to see that this isn't possible, or rather it's only possible under a very special condition. Okay? So we know that all evolution by the second postulate is going to have to be unitary. So we're going to consider a unitary operator U such that this is true. Then we're going to see what has to be required in order for this to work. In order to do that, if U is good at copying the state psi, it better be good at copying some other state, phi, that I want to. So if I can use this state U to make a copy of psi, I'm also going to want to use it to make a copy of some other state. So phi tensor phi. Now let's analyze this and see what pops out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the inner product between these two equations. So I'm going to consider the inner products between the left-hand side and then the right-hand side. And then I'm going to relate these two expressions. So let's do the inner product between U on the top here. So I'm going to take the Hermitian conjugate of this, U psi S. What's that going to be? It's going to be psi bra S bra U dagger. So as always, I change the order, reverse the order, and I take the Hermitian conjugate of each one. The notation of the bra and the ket do the Hermitian conjugate for us. So I want to compute the inner product between the top and the bottom here. So on the bottom, I'm just going to have U phi tensor S. So I've computed the inner product between the top and the bottom, and now I can do the same thing just by equality on the right-hand side. So this is going to be equal to the inner product between the right-hand sides. So that is psi tensor psi, and then phi tensor phi. Does everyone agree that these are equal? Yeah. So second postulate, U is unitary. So U dagger U is identity. So I can get rid of this. And now I'm going to have the inner product between psi. Let's put some tensor products back in to be very explicit here. So the U dagger U goes away. Now I have psi tensor S. And then I have to do the inner product of that with phi tensor S. And on the right-hand side, we'll put back in the tensor products to be very explicit. Psi tensor psi is the first term, and then the second term is phi tensor phi. Who could tell me, for example, the left-hand side, how to simplify this expression? How do I evaluate the inner product across a tensor product? As with most definitions of the tensor product, you do it on either side in parallel. So I do the inner product of psi with phi. That gives me a number. And then I multiply that by the inner product between what's on the right, s and s. Okay? Check back in your notes. Make sure you remember this definition of how to do inner products across a tensor product. It's very similar with operators acting across a tensor product. It's operator on the left times the vector on the left, tensor operator on the right, tensor the vector on the right. Okay? So this is by our definition of how to do inner products. And it's going to be similar on the right-hand side now. We just have to be careful of what it is. It's going to be on the left, psi inner product phi. And then on the right-hand side, psi inner product phi again. So we get two copies over here. What can I do about this inner product between s and itself? Should be 1 because s is a valid quantum state by our assumption. So this is equal to 1. And then you'll notice that the things we have left are all the same. So what I have really here, finally, is that the inner product between psi and phi is equal to the inner product between psi and phi squared. What does this say about the states psi and phi? Think about this as a, what is it? I guess it's a quadratic equation, if you will. So there's two solutions. X times 1 minus x is equal to 0. So x being this inner product itself. So this tells me that psi inner product phi is either 0 or it's 1. In the case that it's 1, what does that say about the states psi and phi? Exactly right. They're the same. So this says that psi is equal to phi. That's not really interesting. That doesn't tell me anything new because I suppose by assumption that u is able to copy psi. So this says nothing about the second equation. But what about the case where they're orthogonal? Well, it says that they're orthogonal. So you've just proved the no cloning theorem. The no cloning theorem says that this is only possible. It's only possible to clone a quantum state unitarily in this sense for orthogonal states. So let me write that as a theorem here. So if this is true, then the states must be orthogonal. Kind of a weird thing, right? Another weird quirk about quantum mechanics. We can't reliably distinguish states. We also can't reliably copy them. There's only a special case where we can copy them. That is when the two states themselves are orthogonal.